Reverend Smith, you're the only one around this table, I believe, that was born in Madison and raised here. So your perspective is interesting, because you did, you did that all here. So we can talk about what we're seeing in reports now, but I'd just be curious about just what you notice of what you may think. I don't put you on the spot, but you have that history.
I wanted to go back to the role model issue that you brought up, because we put a lot of pressure and attention on Madison, the Madison Metropolitan School District, and really the surrounding school districts are affecting us just as much now. Before it was sort of a foreign thing. You sent your kids to those districts to kind of get away from Madison. Now it's spread and it's all over. It's kind of like the outer school district have taken on the attitude of Madison. Mm-hmm. And so when they see black kids coming, or black kids there, they look different, they talk different, they dress different, and the teachers are automatically don't raise for their expectations. They sort of expect them to be trouble, expect them not to read, expect them not to achieve or even graduate. So my kids go to Verona area school. And one of the things, when we first went there, we were looking for a change. We tried St. James Catholic school, which we really enjoyed. But I said, I'm not sending my kids to Madison school because I'm a product of Madison school. Mm-hmm. And I'm the youngest of 8. And I went all the way through Madison school. I guess by the time I got to high school, my parents were tired. They were tired. So I pretty much did whatever I wanted to do. Dropped out of school, went back and got my GED, had a horrible experience at Madison West.
See, I would have never thought that about you, knowing you growing up.
Because
I thought this brother was one of the smartest people in the world. He is.
That's what makes it so sad, because he is.
But what it is that I grew up around people who cared for me, being a part of Union Tabernacle was Fountain of Life. People who were going to college, who were doing things with their life. So being around that, being able to be encouraged, that I wasn't a nobody, that people loved me and encouraged me and things like that. I was go back, get my GED, go back and get a college degree, and do the things that I've done in life. But because I had that support, and a lot of kids don't have that, they don't see that. My kid, my youngest one, who's in 4th grade, the school hired a African-American educational assistant, and he got excited. And we're talking about education. We ain't talking about a classroom teacher. An educational assistant. He said, wow, they call everybody teachers in the school. We have a black teacher, and I, of course, Doug did some investigation and we realized it was just education, not just an education system, but you know what I mean. But he was excited because there was someone that looked like him, same color, who he felt very comfortable. And then when he found out I grew up with the person, that was like, wow. Because she was telling him little secrets about me and things like that.
It's documented.
Yeah, a lot of those out there, not secrets. But because me and my wife have been involved. Now, he's my youngest, and he's probably our most troublesome one. None of my other 4 kids.
Y'all tired.
Tired. None of my other 4 kids ever got sent to the office for anything. He has. But because we respond to the teachers, because we respond to the principal, because we come to the school. If they call us, whether we're at work, we drop everything, we go there, because we go to the conferences, we go to the concerts, we go to all the things.
Right.
We want them to know if he has a problem, you're going to talk to us.
Yes. Exactly.
You're not going to IEP him. You're not going to building team him. You're not going to do any of those things. You're not going to speech language him. You're going to talk to us. Okay, and we're going to advocate for our child. That makes such a big difference. Yes. We had to convince them that we owned the house when we first moved there. When we first moved there, we're sitting down there talking to the counselor. Say, yeah, we're bringing our kids a country view. Where do you live? We gave my address. You rent? No, we own the house. You own a house? Yeah. On King James Way? Yeah, we own a house. He must have asked 3 times. Are you sure? Are we sure we own a house?
Wow. Wait, did you tell him that was the 3rd house you've owned? Because you've owned 3 houses.
Yeah. We told him, wow, it's a house. He said, well, we thought there were only apartments on that street. Well, apparently you don't go in that community a whole lot. So one day my kids had to stay after school. The assistant principal was determined to give them a ride home so she could see where we live.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Well, these are kind of things that, so it's not just happening in Madison. It's happening in Verona, Sun Prairie, Monona Grove. It's happening in Middleton and all these surrounding districts. So we have a bigger issue and problem now that us as pastors, when we start working and dealing with our families,
It's broader.
It's not just Madison.
And I want to just keep stressing, this is a Madison-born leader who's sending his kids to schools in Verona who are also Madison-born. Because you read these reports, you listen to people, these are not Chicago and Milwaukee and down south kids. These are kids born in St. Mary's Hospital, and you're having to justify stuff.
And, one of the challenges with getting minority teachers is the DPI rules. So if a district wants to recruit minority teachers, it's more difficult for them to recruit outside of the state of Wisconsin. So if they want to go down to Georgia or they want to go to the historically black colleges and recruit teachers, if the teacher doesn't have a Wisconsin teaching certificate, it's a longer process. Or to get a teacher to transfer from Illinois that wants to teach in a Madison school, or if someone transfers here, their husband gets a job, or their wife gets a job here in Madison, and they're a teacher somewhere. They can't just transfer. It's a very difficult process. So the licensing process actually works against a district that would like to diversify. And that's one of the things I think that we need to look at. How can that process be changed so that a district can recruit African American teachers that would love to move out of another area into this area? It's not a simple process. And another challenge, because I'm from Texas. I've been here about 8 years. And when we moved here, my son was already in college. He was a freshman in college. And my daughter was in the 10th grade. So we went around to all of the schools to decide, where we were going to put them. And so I met firsthand some of the stereotypes that you all are describing. Where are you from? And the perception, or the expectation rather, of my family was amazing, because they expected us. So you're not from Chicago. So you're not from Milwaukee. So
sure?
And we ended up putting our daughter in DeForest. She went to high school there, and while and immediately she's on all of the special committees, and we want you to, because she was different. And it's been my observation that a lot of the teachers are tired, like you talked about your parents being tired. Many of them are tired because what's missing is that home element, the home element that we had. While you grew up here, you grew up in a community. The community that you grew up in doesn't exist like it did when you came up. The things that were instilled in me growing up in Texas, that I instilled in my children, and that you all are instilling in your children, I think is absent from many of the minority kids that are in the schools today. And they're coming in, whereas your children, you are telling them how important education is from the day they're born. You're reading to them. We're giving them the tools necessary to succeed, but they are the exception. And when you listen to, if you flip and look on the other side of this discussion, what I want to see us talk about, and maybe you did and I missed it, is how we can encourage our families, the mothers, the fathers, to be engaged, to be that parent that comes to all of the events, to be part of that educational process. It's more than saying you won't stereotype my child or the children that go to my church or the children that I know, my nephews and nieces. But how can we raise everyone up so that the stereotype is not true for the majority of the children? What can we do to change the achievement gap? And there's not you can't do anything to change a 9th grader that's reading on the 6th grade level. You can't give him a pill a ninth grade reading pill. That, okay, here you go. You're where you need to be.
Well, they are giving our kids
They're giving our kids,
pills.
and they are giving them pills, and the problem with that is that it is also affecting their ability to learn. So while it affects their behavior, it decreases their creativity, which is their advantage. Which is what they need to really succeed. So one problem gets solved through giving them a pill, but it creates another problem because of the side effects of that medication. Right. And I'm so glad. I don't know if they had it when I was in school, but I would have been ADD, DHD, with all the D's. That would have been me. But I'm glad that they didn't have that when I was coming up. But I think that is contributing to the achievement gap because it's killing the creativity, the ingenuity that a child naturally has. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to involve the families. We have to somehow engage. And I hate to use the word community because there isn't a community. So if we can't create a community, we have to engage one another, and we have to challenge one another to find solutions that work over the long term. Because I don't think that there is an immediate solution to this problem outside of somebody sitting down and talking to the children. I'll give you a great example. I was talking to someone the other day about the term, you're treading on thin ice. And they didn't know what that meant. Well, I had to go back to hearing it from my grandmother. And that exchange is not happening. A lot of what we learn, we didn't learn in school. The determination, the not giving up, you got to do better than everybody else. You can't accept the status quo. We weren't given the statistics of racism as an excuse. We were given as motivation. Right. This is a fact. So it's coming, so you're going to have to work that much harder. And that's lost. That's lost on this generation. And that's why the achievement gap exists, because our kids aren't hearing those things, and somehow we have to find a way to do that, to communicate that.